Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us today. Look, if you've been anywhere near the internet lately, you know the summer transfer market is just pure chaotic noise right now. So today, in this explainer, we're cutting straight through all of that. We've synthesized all the global rumors, the intense backdoor negotiations, and the on-the-ground reports from Spain to England, all to uncover FC Barcelona's real transfer strategy. We're calling this the positional blueprint. Okay, let's dive right into this, because this is the absolute monumental question hanging over the entire club right now. The La Liga season is fast approaching, and the pressure is at an absolute boiling point. We really need to figure out if Barcelona can actually pull off a total squad rebuild with just 11 days left on the clock. It's literally a race against time. Every single hour counts, and honestly, the stakes for the manager, the board, and the fans, they could not possibly be higher.
So, to make sense of all this chaos, we're going to use our positional blueprint. We'll be walking through 1. The transfer puzzle, 2. Reshuffling the defense, 3. The midfield megastar, 4. The domino effect, 5. The striker void, and finally 6. Reality versus the clock.
Starting off with Section 1, the Barcelona transfer puzzle.
Before we get into the shiny new targets, it's absolutely crucial to understand the environment we're dealing with. The current market is incredibly delicate. Prying big players away from big clubs right before deadline day, it's a massive challenge. Let's start at the back and look at the current defensive roster. You've got Eric Garcia, Jules Koundé, Pau Cubarsí, Andreas Christensen. They will only buy a top-tier center back if one of these existing players is actually sold first. The defense is packed with heavy contracts, so, mathematically speaking, someone has to pack their bags before anyone new can even walk through the door.
Let's move on to Section 2, reshuffling the defense. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer contrast between their two primary targets to fill that potential gap. On the left, you've got Castello Lukeba from RB Leipzig. He's young, left-footed, an international French center back, and Hansi Flick already knows him really well from following the Bundesliga. But the crazy part is the market shift here. His valuation dropped from this untouchable 80 million euros down to a way more palatable 30 million. Then, on the right side, you've got Aymeric Laporte. He brings that immense veteran experience and a winning pedigree, but man, his situation is a mess. There's all this intense media talk about a 12 to 15 million euro release clause, but Athletic Club is aggressively denying it even exists. That makes any potential negotiations for Laporte highly complicated and frankly politically toxic for everyone involved. Which brings us to Section 3, the midfield megastar. Moving up the pitch from the defense, we hit the engine room. And this timeline perfectly captures the financial tension of this incredible bidding war for Barcelona's absolute priority target, Rodri. Look at this. Week 1, Barca submits a 45 million euro bid. Everyone in the football world knew that was basically a low ball just to start the conversation. By week 2, feeling the heat, they bump it to 60 million. And present day, Manchester City is demanding a staggering 80 million euros for a guy who only has one single year left on his contract. Barca is desperately hoping to settle somewhere around the 70 million mark, but City is playing some serious hardball here. They know exactly how desperate Barcelona is to anchor that midfield. But hey, before we just assume dropping 70 or 80 million euros is a total no-brainer, we kind of need to shift our tone for a second. Take this incredibly tragic story about young Rooney Bargigi. After being sidelined from training by Hansi Flick, he suffered a devastating second ACL injury. It is heartbreaking for the kid, but it powerfully highlights the severe, lingering risks of knee injuries in modern football. Once a player's knee is compromised like that, the threat of re-injury is massive. It completely changes the calculus for a club's medical team.
So, the crucial point here is 30. That is Rodri's age right now. He is entering his 30s. He suffered a severe ACL injury himself back in 2024. And on top of that, he recently had back surgery following the World Cup. Paying 80 million euros for an aging player with this highly specific, highly concerning medical history, especially when he's supposed to replace the already injury-prone Frenkie de Jong, that is a massive, monumental gamble. It's the kind of financial and medical roll of the dice that can literally define a club's entire decade if it blows up in their face.
All right, Section 4, the domino effect. Because football transfers never happen in a vacuum, right? Take this quote from Ferran Torres about his World Cup goal. He says, "I could have missed that shot 99 times out of 100, but in the World Cup final, I knew that it was my moment." It's bold, it's confident, but we kind of have to admit, Barcelona fans have literally watched him miss those exact shots 99 times out of 100 at the club level. Because of that lack of end product, his impending exit is being very widely accepted, frankly, even welcomed, by a fan base that is just starving for consistent finishing. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer logistical comedy of the transfer domino effect. It's a neat little three-step process. Step 1, Ferran Torres is sold to PSG for 55 million euros, clearing up vital wage space. Step 2, Barca takes that exact 55 million injection to help fund the massive Rodri transfer from Man City. And step 3, you can't make this up, Rodri is literally in the process of buying Ferran Torres' empty house in Barcelona. He isn't just taking his spot on the payroll, he is packing up his boxes and moving straight into his national teammate's living room. Just a perfect, bizarre circle of football logistics.
Moving into the final third, Section 5, the striker void.
This visual right here is terrifying if you're a Barca fan. It emphasizes the massive chunk of last season's goal production that has just walked out the door. Robert Lewandowski departed as a free agent, taking a huge slice of the offense with him. Ferran Torres is off to PSG, so that tiny sliver that's left, that represents the entire goal production of the remaining squad combined. When you look at the raw numbers, it's staggering. You just cannot compete for La Liga or the Champions League with that little firepower, and naturally, it's causing absolute panic in the boardroom.
And the panic is so intense. We're seeing this wild split in how people are coping. The media, they're busy pushing impossible real-world pipe dreams like Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez, basically just to generate clicks. Meanwhile, frustrated fans over on Russian YouTube are literally booting up FIFA 27 simulations to try and fix the void themselves. They're in career mode, converting wingers like Karim Adeyemi into makeshift strikers, or dropping 56 million on Anthony Gordon just to see what it feels like to actually have a dangerous player up front.
But, we have to step out of the video game for a second and deliver a harsh reality check. We need to completely dismantle these media rumors. Julian Alvarez, he is already back in full training at Atletico Madrid. He personally met with Cholo Simeone, and his release clause is astronomical. Lautaro Martinez, he's Inter Milan's club captain. He is perfectly happy in Italy, and he's locked into a massive contract until 2029. So the unvarnished truth is, there is currently zero concrete plan for a striker. As we sit here today, the club is functionally operating without a true center forward.
Let's move to Section 6 and see how this all builds up. Reality versus the clock.
This single sentence right here perfectly sums up the anxiety-inducing state of FC Barcelona. The defense, totally stuck in the mud, requiring a major exit before they can even reshuffle. The midfield, it hinges on a 70 to 80 million euro medical gamble on Rodri's surgically repaired knees. And the attack, it is completely hollowed out, literally requiring a transfer market miracle to find a starting caliber striker in the next few days. It's just a precarious balancing act across every single zone of the pitch. Which brings us to the end of our explainer and leaves us with one highly provocative question. With absolutely no dedicated striker, rapidly mounting transfer costs, and just 11 days left before the season kicks off, who is actually going to step onto the pitch for Barcelona on opening day? It's a massive, high-stakes puzzle that is changing by the hour, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how they attempt to solve it before the clock runs out. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the positional blueprint, and keep your eyes on the clock.